The best player in the league right now is a 29-year-old center for the Vegas Golden Knights. This is the Dump and Chase podcast presented by the Hoosier Network. I'm Noah Bodoris with Noah Carl Seuss and Jack frickin' Rizzo. Fellas, it's good to be back here for another week.
Yeah, it's great.
We're here a little early, but it's good.
Yeah, it's good to be here on this Wednesday afternoon. Very odd for us to be
Wednesday
on a
at noon is a whole lot different than
Thursday
at 4.
Yeah, exactly. But it feels good to be back.
May or may not be the one who had to construct this time change, but hey, we are here. It's been a great week of hockey, and it's time to talk some more.
Honestly, this has been a great season, just so far. It's one of those. We talked about this last week, kind of as the opener, and just how surprising some things have been. But just we're a month in, and already so many things have surprised us in the standings. Especially a team I want to talk about is the Chicago Blackhawks, and specifically what that young man Connor Bedard did last night. Seuss, what'd you think of his first career Hattie?
What a great performance from the young kid. 3 goals and an assist, 4 points in a 7-3 win against the Senators.
Yep.
This kid is electric. He is the focal point of this Blackhawks rebuild, and he's going to be a reason they're going to be a contender for years to come.
Jack, what do you think?
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, we're finally seeing this kid just live up to the potential that he had when he was taken number 1 overall, probably the most hyped draft prospect since Sidney Crosby, and he's finally living up to it. You know, he's the focal point of this team. They're having a great start to the season so far, at least in comparison to what they've done the last couple of years. And obviously, the big question is, are they going to keep this up for the full season? And It's not going to be easy playing in this division, but they are not a pushover team like they've been in the past. They are taking steps in the right direction, and while this year may not be the year, Connor Bedard last night showed that this team is going places.
Yeah, the thing that's interesting to me is that the Hawks are the second wild card right now in the West, but when you look at the whole West wild card standings, everybody's separated by 3 points right now. Like when you look at the 1 through 6, all of those teams, save the Stars and maybe the Kings, are kind of, surprise teams that could make a splash in that wild card spot right now.
Yeah, we could see a team like the Anaheim Ducks, like Jack mentioned many times. We could see the Predators make a sneaky push, and the Canucks too. I feel like the Canucks could be right in that push too.
Yeah, totally agree. This is a pretty wide open West, in my opinion. I think the top 3 in both divisions is pretty sad where it's going to be the end of the season. Although the Kraken are kind of giving the Pacific a run for their money, maybe challenging the Kings in that spot. But I think those wildcard teams, you got so many teams who could contend for that. I mean, Utah could be one. I mean, they're atop their division right now, let alone the wild card. Now, are they going to stay there all season? I'm not exactly sure about that.
I don't think they'll stay at the top, but I think they'll be competitive and fighting for a playoff spot the whole year.
They absolutely will be. Again, the Ducks, I think, as you mentioned, Seuss, are a good one. I mean, hey, could Chicago maybe take a bigger step forward than we expected to? Maybe a team from the bottom, maybe Minnesota or St. Louis, maybe they turn things around in the next couple weeks. I think this is a pretty open Western Conference, and I think those 2 wild card spots are going to be very competitive this year.
Absolutely.
They don't call it the Wild Wild West for nothing.
Yep.
That's right, Seuss.
I like that.
All right, let's dive into our player of the week, and I want to go first. Talk about a guy that we talked about on last week's show, and that's Sidney Crosby. Reached 1,700 points, new milestone for his career. I called the game. It was against my own St. Louis Blues. But Crosby's my player of the week. In just 4 games, he had 4 goals and 3 assists, had a 2-goal game against Florida and Sergei Bobrovsky, a 2-assist game against St. Louis. That was the day in which he broke 1,700. Currently, he is 6th in points and 4th in goals. And this is a Penguins team that I want to talk about. Did one of you have the Penguins as your team of the week this week? I want to look.
I don't think we did.
But I changed
Okay.
it.
So I want to talk about this Penguins team because I am a firm believer that they are this year's Capitals, where you're going to have an outstanding, kind of twilight season from Sidney Crosby. Penguins are going to surprise a lot of people, and they're going to be a playoff team.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. They've been off to a really good start early this year, and Crosby has been the focal point. My main question is this goaltending problem.
Yeah.
Tristan Jarry could be the reason the Penguins don't go far like the Capitals did.
Yeah, well, Tristan Jarry is definitely a concern, but you got the other goalie, Artur Silovs, who's honestly played pretty well so far this season. But I think you're right, Noah. I think there's a lot of comparisons between this year's Penguins and last year's Capitals. You've got a star player in the twilight of his career who could have, kind of find the fountain of youth. Although I think it's in Crosby's case. I think he's just been very consistent throughout his entire career, let alone this year. But we're seeing Evgeny Malkin also have a great season at age 39. We're seeing, the Artur Silovs having a great season in net. And I think Dan Sam Hughes has done a great job there in his first year. Now, granted, I don't know if this team is going to stack up with other teams in this division, let alone the playoffs. Like, I don't know if they're on the level that the Hurricanes or the Devils are on, but I think this is going to be a team that, like you mentioned with Washington last year, they're going to surprise people. They're going to be competitive, and especially if Artur Silovs and Tristan Jarry can play well the entire season, they're going to be a dangerous team in the Metro this year.
Well, I think especially in the Metro right now, you have the Devils and the Canes, who are obvious contenders. And then after that, there's not a whole lot else that I would be afraid of if I'm the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Capitals are a consistent team, and they have the talent, and they could potentially be that third playoff team. But after that, there's nobody that I have confidence in. At one point, we said the Blue Jackets could be good, but they're not impressing me at all.
Right now, the Flyers are in a playoff spot. That could be a very sneaky last wild card team if you don't see teams like Florida, Ottawa, and Tampa really step it up.
I don't see it happening.
Yeah, totally agree. It's going to be really interesting. Obviously, we're still very, very early in the season. The standings are going to be completely different by the end of the season. I mean, Buffalo and Tampa Bay have the same amount of points right now.
Yeah,
so
crazy.
That's not going to happen the rest of the season. But hey, it's always fun, though, to talk about what we've seen so far. And if the season ended today, I mean, Utah being atop the division, Montreal being atop the Atlantic, there's a lot of fun things to talk about right now in terms of the early season standings.
Absolutely. Seuss, who's your player of the week?
My player of the week is Macklin Celebrini. He just had an incredible week. A hat trick against the New York Rangers in a big 6-5 overtime win for the Sharks' first win of the year. And then he got an assist against the Devils and the goal and 2 assists against the Wild. This kid is unreal. He's only 19, and the sky is the limit for him. The Sharks, it's a work in progress. They played probably their best week of hockey this week, with their two wins, 2-2 record this week. So it's gonna be good for Macklin.
Yeah, I think Celebrini is definitely like you said, a bright spot in this rough Sharks team. But this is a team that we've talked about where the goal is to do kind of what the Islanders have been doing, where you're centering yourself around a young talent, and the more that he proves himself to be capable of carrying a team and being a future captain, future star, you're going to get guys that want to come join this team and surround them. Because the San Jose Sharks were relevant just a few years ago. And so this team is not far from contention if they can continue to build around young talent and hopefully persuade some vets to come and fill the holes.
Yeah, you also need like a solid goaltender.
Oh, everybody does.
Yeah. I think the Sharks, you just got to surround, like you're saying, Celebrini with the right guys, which I think they have. Michael Misa, Sam Dickinson, these young guys are going to fit in nicely with Will Smith, and I think it's going to be a good Sharks core for years to come.
Yeah, totally agree. I think the Sharks are probably... They're similar to the Blackhawks in some ways where they got some really good young talent, but I think they're about a year behind where the Blackhawks are because I think the Blackhawks are starting to turn a corner now.
Absolutely.
San Jose will. They definitely will at some point, especially if Macklin Celebrini and Will Smith and all these great young players can play this way. I just think it might take 1 or 2 more years for them to fully develop. They need a good goaltender.
Yeah.
That's what they need. Their goaltending sucks.
And that's a missing piece on so many teams. And we're going to look forward to this trade deadline where there's a lot of guys that could potentially fill those spots for goaltending needs for a lot of teams. Jack, who is your player of the week?
There are a lot of players who played very, very well this week, but I'm going to stick with the team that's hot right now, the Utah Mammoth, and I'm going to talk about Nick Schmaltz, who had another great week. I mean, he's had several great weeks to start the season. He's second in the league in points right now, tied with Nathan McKinnon. This past week alone, 3 goals and 4 assists in 7 games, he had a plus or minus 6 on the ice this past week, which the last 2 years he's had a minus 31 in that regard. But one thing about Nick Schmaltz is I feel like he's always been very underrated in the league. You know, when you think about this Utah team, you think about Clayton Keller and Logan Cooley, who just got a big contract extension, and JJ Peterka. But Nick Schmaltz has had 4 consecutive 50-point seasons. Yeah. And I think we're starting to see this year how truly undervalued he was because he's been their best player this year, and he's really been the focal point of this Utah team. And I am certainly excited to see how the rest of the season plays out. And if he keeps up these numbers, he could be in the Hart Trophy consideration for sure.
Absolutely. I think he will be. I do want to say, though, that this is the time that we want to talk about because there's a certain guy that's been on our player of the week list every single week, but he's absent this week, and that's Jack Eichel. And Jack Eichel, I think we can all agree, is that Hart favorite right now. He had kind of a quiet week until a 2-goal game last night. Seuss, what are you thinking about this season that Eichel's having so far?
It's just been incredible to watch. And the fact that we snubbed him from Player of the Week is incredible.
Yeah.
Because he keeps giving us a reason to put him on here. He's just amazing. The main reason Vegas has 1 regulation loss this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's the best player in the league right now. I don't think there's any question. Just everything I talk about it every week. Everything he does for this team. I don't think there's one part of his game that's a weak part of his game. He has just improved so much as a player with Vegas, and this has absolutely been his best season. He's on pace for his best season. Now, granted, the health is the question. He's had a lot of injuries,
Right.
hoping he can stay healthy the entire season because he will by far have a career high in points. I mean, he could be 130 points possibly if he keeps up this pace.
Yeah.
But I am looking forward to the way he plays. He's absolutely the Hart Trophy front runner right now. And Vegas has certainly got to be feeling pretty good right now that they were able to lock him up right after the season started. Because otherwise, he'd be the most coveted free agent in quite a long time in the National Hockey League.
Absolutely. I want to go back to Nick Schmaltz and talk about the team of the week. I want to go first on this one because my team of the week is the Utah Mammoth. For the first time, I'm talking about them as my team of the week. They went 3-1 since our last show. Only loss being last night to Edmonton, which was a little bit rough to watch. A 6-3 loss, but 5-3 before Utah pulled their goalie. And you know, a loss to Edmonton on the road isn't a tough thing to complain about. But the thing that Utah is doing that's really impressing me is just how great the offense is. In those past 4 games, they had a 6-goal night against Minnesota, a 7-goal night against St. Louis. And like we've already said, they're the top team in the Central right now. And I think that they are on pace to keep this going.
Yeah, Utah's been the key is consistency, and the goal scoring has been consistent.
Yeah.
The problem here is goaltending, which is everyone's problem these days.
I don't think it's a problem right now.
I don't know. You allow 4, 2, 2, 6.
That is the thing. I do agree that Utah has not had a shutout this year, which is a little bit shocking. But they're not giving up. Look at their schedule right now. They have not given up a significant amount of goals yet. The most they've given up is 3 goals in a single game. They have not let anybody. Oh, that's not true. Wait, that's not true. I was flipping it. Last night, 6 goals from Edmonton. Yeah, you're right. Keep talking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, okay, but besides that, show me a loss where they've given up more than 3 goals.
They've lost 3 games. That's just the point.
And the other two were...
The other two were 3-1, 2-1.
Yeah. So last night was their worst defensive game.
True. We're gonna see what they're really made of in these next couple games. Tampa and Buffalo have been struggling, but then you have Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa, Buffalo again. It's a really tough road trip coming up. You have that Canada road trip, so we're really gonna see what Utah's made of.
Yeah, but then right after that, like even if you go in that 5-game stretch, if you win 2 out of those, then you get a break. You get Buffalo, you get the Islanders, you get the Ducks, and you get the Sharks. And all 4 of those are decently winnable for a excellent team that is the Utah Mammoth.
That is true.
Yeah. The key for Utah this year has been their 5-on-5 play because their special teams hasn't really been too great. Their power play is about middle of the pack. Their penalty killing is actually below average, but I mean, all of their top players are well in the plus category in terms of plus minus. You got Nick Schmaltz at a +7 right now. Again, he's been -15, -16 the last 2 years. They have 5 players with double-digit points right now. You got Dylan Gunther and Clayton Keller, right, and Logan Cooley all tied with 12. They're getting contributions, too, from the defensemen as well, which is something that I think we were a bit skeptical about coming into the season. I mean, Mikhail Sergachev kind of turning back the clock. He has 9 points in 11 games. John Marino, Ian Cole, more veteran defensemen who've been great. I mean, Ian Cole +9 on the season in terms of that category. They are just playing well at 5-on-5 hockey. They're, playing 200 feet. They're forechecking well. They're generating offense. And I really am excited to see what this team is made of the rest of the season. Again, I think the question is goaltending. Will Karel Vejmelka, Vitek Vanacek really be able to establish themselves as the top goalie in Utah? Because if they can, this team is going places. And if they do something at the trade deadline, oh boy, this could be a scary, scary team in the Western Conference.
Yeah, my only issue with the Utah Mammoth right now is if you pull up their stats right now as a team, and you're looking at these top point getters. When you go down the list, Nick Schmaltz, center. Logan Cooley, center. Dylan Gunther, right. Clayton Keller, right. JJ Perteka, right. There isn't a left wing on this team that's really producing. You got to scroll down that list. Michael Caraccioni, that's their most productive left wing right now, and that's a hole that I think has to be filled eventually.
It's an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need somebody to play on that top line with Schmaltz and Gunther.
There will definitely be some interesting names at the deadline to talk
sure.
about in terms of left wingers. We will definitely generate some. Obviously, the deadline's still months away, but that's a great point that you made. And it's already something that I'm probably going to be thinking about more as we start to watch these games because, again, obviously it's great to have this production, but you need to have consistent production across the line. You can't just have the center and the right wing do everything for you. You know, I mean, we see Nathan McKinnon make his line mates look great. I mean, we need to see more production. I mean, it is a bit wild that their top left winger has 3 points on the season in 11 games. So we'll have to see what ends up happening. But left wing's definitely going to be a conversation for this team.
Out of the 4 left wingers on this team, ranking in points, they are 10th, 11th, 19th, and 20th.
Ugh.
Right now, I'm looking at their projected lines. They have Clayton Keller playing first line left wing, with Hayden in the middle and Smoltz on the right side.
Yeah.
And then they have
Really? Okay.
Then they have Patrica on the second line with Cooley and Gunther.
But that's because you're having to make those substitutions.
Yes.
You're winning because of it, but you don't have a pure left winger on your team who is filling in that first line.
Exactly. If you do, then you can create so much more line balance with the third and fourth line. You can roll out all 4 lines like we said.
Yeah, you are 4 line deep if you can just get a couple of solid left wingers.
Exactly. You need those guys so you can run those 4 lines exactly.
For sure.
All right, let's move on to Jack. Who is your team of the week?
My team of the week. This was a really tough one. I also switched this a couple times, but I'm going to go with the team I picked for my not team of the week last week, and that's the Tampa Bay Lightning. I mean, obviously, just such a terrible start to the season. Losing 5 of your first 6 games, that is just not a formula for winning a Stanley Cup like I predicted them to do before the season. But over the last week, they have just looked so much better. Andrei Vasilevsky has settled in net. Nikita Kucherov, he could honestly have been player of the week. I feel like we don't talk about him enough.
No.
Because he only has 10 points, so you don't look at him. But he also had such a bad start to the season that most of his points have come in the last week. Jake Gensel had a 2-goal game against Anaheim this past week. They're getting some good contributions from their defensemen. And as I mentioned, Andrei Vasilevsky is starting to settle in now. When he's at the top of this game, I don't know if there's any other goaltender in the league I would take as my goalie more than the 2-time Stanley Cup champion. And I think Tampa Bay is going to be able to keep this up all season. I think they're another team that's going to, I just have a feeling they're going to make a massive trade at the trade deadline, really assert themselves in this division. And obviously if the Stars can produce, if Kucherov can produce, if Gensel can produce, if Braden Point can produce, if Victor Hedman can produce. All these guys, they are going to be right there in the Stanley Cup contention in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, this team is really, really good on paper. You look at it and say, how could this fail? Mm-hmm. All these stars, like Jack just named. I think they're going to make a really big end of the first half push for a wild card spot by the playoffs.
Well, the thing that's really interesting is just when you look at the standing, how close the Atlantic is right now. You're looking at the Wings who are at the top at 14 points, and then the bottom is the Boston Bruins at 10. Everybody in this division is separated by 4 points or less. So Tampa Bay had their best week of the season, and they're still tied for last place, but only 4 points out of first. So it's going to be interesting to watch how the Atlantic shakes up, because if Tampa Bay can keep this up, they're only a few spots away from winning this thing.
Exactly. That's why the first few games of the season really don't matter that much, to be quite honest. And also the other thing too with this division is they have played each other a lot this season. There have already been so many games within this division, so these teams have kind of just been able to beat up on each other, and that's why they're so close. I think over the next like 3 or 4 weeks or so, we're going to start to see some separation in this division.
I think so too.
Buffalo's not going to be tied with Tampa Bay at 10 points.
Some separation, but I think the only teams that are really going to fall are the Sabres and the Bruins.
I agree. Yeah, Boston's been really bad. Ottawa, I would have said too, but they had a really good week this past week. They were also almost a team of the week possibility. Yeah. And once they get Brady Tkachuk back and all these guys back, I think they'll be just fine. Remember, they started last season really slow as well, and they end up being that first wild card team in the Eastern Conference. So we'll just have to see. I mean, I could even see a team like Detroit maybe not being at the top of this division.
I can see that too.
Because I just think they can't rely on their power play all season long.
The only teams that are meeting our expectations from this Atlantic division are the Canadiens and the Leafs.
Yeah.
Who are both playing great hockey. But the Wings being at the top was not what we predicted. The Panthers are playing better than we expected. The Sens are playing better than we expected. And the Lightning are way worse than we thought they would be.
Even the Sabres are better than we expected.
Even the Sabres are, yeah. And
I mean, they have the top penalty kill in the league right now.
Yeah. The Sabres are a solid team right now.
I expected more out of the Maple Leafs to start off with, I'm going to be honest with you. The fact that they're only third.
Jack, you're having mic trouble?
Yeah, it was like this when I came in here, so.
Hey, Jack, real quick, while we're paused, how much time are we rolling at right now? You see it?
No, I can't.
Okay. We'll figure it out.
I can hold it like this. It's not that big of a deal.
Cool.
Yeah, like what I was saying. The fact that the Leafs are only in third, I think they're gonna win this division right now. Honestly. Sorry, everybody. Some mic trouble.
Yeah. I've never had this issue before.
Okay,
I can just hold it like this.
What's not tightened?
I'm not sure. Something. It was like this when I came in here.
Try to tighten that.
Yeah, it's like as tight as it could be, and it's not.
Drop it. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
All right, so just keep talking.
Yeah, I feel like I expected
There we go.
a lot more out of the Toronto Maple Leafs to start off with, and they have not really lived up to my true expectations yet. I'm expecting first place in the Atlantic. They're 1 point from being out of a playoff spot. They're tied with Florida, tied with Ottawa, and Boston's a point behind.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think this goes back to what Jack was saying, where they're just playing each other so much, where there's a lot of great teams in this Atlantic, and when they're constantly playing each other, they're going to have to be close enough in those standings. And so once we get more deep into the season and Toronto gets to actually play those bottom feeder teams, that's their opportunity to separate themselves.
And we haven't really talked about Austin Matthews yet.
No.
His name hasn't come up
He
at
has
all
done
in
nothing.
the 4 weeks that
Yeah.
we've been talking about hockey. And I have been really ready to talk about Austin Matthews and his nice mustache, but the lack of production has stopped me.
It's a great point, Suze. Another disappointing thing about the Maple Leafs is Anthony Stolarz got a big extension before the season started. He's sitting here with 8 starts with a .886 save percentage.
Rough.
That's unacceptable for the contract he got. And obviously William Nylander's played great. John Tavares has played great, and the Leafs are kind of just sitting here in the middle of the pack. They need Anthony Stolarz to be better in net. They can't. That's kind of what's held them back the last couple of years in terms of playoffs, but it's holding them back in the regular season right now, and they need Anthony Stolarz to turn it around quickly.
Maybe it's the fact that he's bad now. He won't be bad in April. I don't know. They might need to make a trade at the deadline, we always say. And Ilya Sorokin could be available. He always could be.
Yeah, I think just kind of, reaffirming what we've been saying, all season is there are no teams that have no holes right now. Like every single team in this league, I can point out, maybe besides like a Devils or a Canes, but
Even the Devils, I think they need one more top 6 scorer.
But you know what I'm saying? Like everybody needs some sort of hole to be filled at the deadline. So I think we're gonna have a really busy trade deadline when we come to it, and that's gonna be an exciting show.
Oh yeah.
But
we might be breaking trades while we're recording the show.
That'd be fun.
Possibly.
It'd be great to go live for that show.
We should go live. Yeah.
We should find a way.
Live on YouTube
Yeah.
would be awesome.
Trade deadline special. All right. Where are we at? Team of the week.
Team of the week.
Have we all gone team of the week?
I don't think I have.
I don't think so.
Who's your team of the week?
My team of the week was my not team of the week last week, the Dallas Stars. So the Dallas Stars opened this week with an Adrian Kempe, horns down, but they followed it up really nicely. A 3-2 win over Carolina, a 3-2 win at Nashville, and a win versus the Capitals. I really like what I saw from Oettinger. A good bounce back week for him, and I think the Stars are on their way up.
Yeah, this was a team that we talked about last week where we said the Stars are skidding right now, but they had that game on Saturday against the Canes, and we said if the Stars are going to turn their season around and reestablish themselves as the best team in the NHL, that was the important one, and they got it done. 1-3-2, and since then they've been rolling. They get Tampa Bay on the road tomorrow night, and that could potentially be another difficult task if Tampa Bay is on the come up again. But Dallas is, flip the script. Like I think they're the only team so far to be a team of the week, and then a not team of the week, and then once again a team of the week.
Yeah, they're always flipping around. Their schedule is really tough here. You have Florida, Edmonton, but then it eases up with Anaheim and Nashville. So I think the Stars are really gonna come back in this Central race. The Central's very tough, like we've said. I don't think Seattle keeps this up. I think the Stars are gonna take their spot, and it's gonna be not Seattle. Sorry, Utah. I don't think Utah's keeping this up.
I'm interested to see. We're looking at November 28th is a game in Dallas between the Dallas Stars and the Utah Mammoth. I'm interested to see where those two teams will be at that point, because at the moment we're saying that Utah is the best team in the Central and they could be have their stock falling, and if the Stars are on the come up, they could kind of meet in the middle, and that could be a great game.
At the start of the year, I would say Utah and the Stars would be flipped. I thought the Stars were going to be winning the Central easily.
Yep.
When Utah would be more in that wild card race with the Chicagos and the Ducks and Vancouver.
Right.
Yeah, I really like what I've seen from the Stars this year. This is what, in my opinion, the most talented roster in the league.
Yeah.
I think just all the talent they have, especially on the front lines, is just incredible. I said in my preseason article, there was no way they were going to be 17th in the league in power play again. They're third right now, so I think I got that pretty right. Their penalty killing, though, that needs to improve. And it's not just that, it's their defense. I think this defensive depth is very concerning. You get past Miro Heiskanen, Thomas Harley, and Issa Lindell, and I don't really think there's anybody else on this defense. We'll mention the trade deadline again. This is another team who I think they could acquire a big defenseman. Quinn Hughes, anybody? They'd be the Cup favorites if they did that.
Absolutely.
Well, actually, they might be the Cup favorites right now. They might just outright win the Cup easily if they get Quinn Hughes on this team.
Yeah.
But I like what I've seen for them. Bit inconsistent so far, but they've kind of got along with what Jake Ottinger has done so far. Jake Ottinger needs to be a little more consistent, but if this power play is going to keep it up and if their penalty kill can improve, even just be like a middle-of-the-pack penalty kill and not one of the worst in the league, the Stars are going to be just fine. And we know they're going to make moves at the deadline to improve the roster.
Yeah, and this is a team that is playing good hockey and is considered by us at times to be the best team in the league still without Jamie Benn.
Oh, yeah. Jamie Benn's such a crucial part of this team on defense and on offense. In other Stars news, yesterday we saw Thomas Harley get an 8-year extension for $10.5 million. Guys, what do we think about that?
It's been a fun time early in the season. A lot of guys are getting paid. I think this just means anything that it means for an extension, where the Stars are just putting faith in their team, where they are solidified that this is the roster that they want to work around. They want to build on this team for years to come. And if they're going to keep falling short of reaching that promised land of a Cup final, they're just going to keep pushing it.
Yeah, they have the tools and the assets to keep building this young core that they already have. So I think this Stars team is going to, I don't want to say they're going to be a dynasty, but they're going to try their best to become the next NHL dynasty.
Their goal is to keep this core around for the next 5 years.
Yes.
Yeah, I really do like the Thomas Harley extension. Super young, only 24 years old. Seems to improve every single year. 7th in the Norris Trophy voting last year. He's one of the best two-way defensemen in hockey, right? Where last year had a plus 32, had a 50-point season with 16 goals. He is just an awesome player. He and Miro Heiskanen, they're fun to watch, man. They really are.
Absolutely.
But as I said before, once you get past them, the depth is a bit concerning. But with Heiskanen and Harley leading the way on the blue lines, this is a dangerous team. And I think it's a very reasonable extension. You know, Stars are obviously glad they got their young star locked up, and they are in position to contend for the next 5-10 years, maybe even longer than that.
Agree. Let's stay in the Central. Seuss, who is your not team of the week?
My not team of the week is the Minnesota Wild. I was very high on the Minnesota Wild before the year started. It is still the one-man show that we thought it was going to be. It's the Kirill Kaprizov show. His extension's looking nice. But where is everybody else? They had a bad loss to Utah, 6-2, losing to the Sharks in overtime, and then losing to the Jets in overtime. You got 2 points, but you didn't really see much else. Allowing six goals back-to-back games from your goalie combo on a back-to-back is completely unacceptable.
Yeah, this Wild team is interesting because, like I said, it is very much the Kirill Kaprizov show. Matt Boldy's doing a little bit. He has 12 points right now, but there's a fall off of just mediocrity on this team where they're winning some games, but a lot of guys are doing absolutely nothing for this Wild team. And goaltending has also been nothing impressive.
I really expected to see a lot from the Brock Fabers, from the Vladimir Tarasenko's, from the Joel Eriksson X, and I haven't been able to see that from these deaf guys on the Wild yet.
Well, I said before the season that other than the top line, I was very concerned about this team's depth. I just don't think they have the depth outside of that top line. You know, Kaprizov, Matt Boldy. It's a great top line, but the rest of this team is just really concerning. I mean, you're not going to win when you're dead last in the league in penalty killing. I mean, 62%, that is just,
that's rough.
That's atrocious.
That's bad.
It's really bad. It's really, really bad. And it's funny because they actually have the top power play in the league, but you're going to give up all these power play goals. It's not going to matter. You know, and that's the thing. They've taken a lot of penalties. They've given up a bunch of power play goals, and it's just hurt this team. And you mentioned it. The goaltending has been awful. And a loaded Central Division, that's not going to cut it. So they could be another team who makes a big trade at the deadline, or if they're just really out of it, they might just sell at the deadline.
I think they're a team that's going to sell. This is a difference between this Wild team and other not teams of the week is that typically when we talk about a team who's struggling, they have the roster and they're just not performing. This Minnesota Wild team just doesn't have the roster. I don't think they have the guys to compete.
Yeah, and with how stacked this Central is looking, and with the way it's going to go, how we think it's going to go, I don't think the Wild stand even a chance of survival.
No, I think that by late November, early December, this team will fall far enough that the season will be over for them.
They're last year's Bruins.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they are.
Yeah.
The coach, honestly, I could see their coach getting fired.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think this could be an excellent opportunity. You've extended your star, clean house otherwise. Start building around Kirill Kaprizov again, and just start over.
Who do we think could be gone at the deadline? I could see a Tarasenko being traded.
Tarasenko's been traded at every deadline ever.
So he's gone. Just consider him gone.
Maybe Florida brings him back for more depth
I
again.
can see it.
I mean, he did great there the last time, so. But yeah, I think almost everybody on this team, other than Kirill Kaprizov and Brock Faber, are possibly on the trading block.
I mean, Matt Boldy's having a good year, and he is a left wing. And you know who is in need of a left wing right now?
Utah.
It
would be an in-division trade,
It'd be in division, but it's Utah and Minnesota. Like, I don't think that they are close enough to think we can't make deals with each other.
And let me just say one thing. Matt Zuccarello has been gone this whole year for the Wild so far. I think if he comes back, that's so huge for the Wild. He plays such a big part in the offense that they do.
One of my favorite Rangers of all time.
Yeah, but you've dug yourself into a hole. It's not like you're looking at the Atlantic Division and you're saying, oh, we're the bottom team, Boston Bruins, we're only a couple of wins away from near the top. You're the Minnesota Wild, and you got to string together some quality wins to even catch up to these giants in your division. I think it's not going to be a good year for the Minnesota Wild. It's going to be a terrible year for the Minnesota Wild.
Yeah, and their next coming up games don't look terrible, but you got to find a way to get some wins. Pittsburgh, Vancouver, Nashville, all at home. This is the time. If you want to be back in this central race, you need to win games.
I don't think they're going to. I think those... Let me look. You said Pittsburgh and then...
Vancouver,
Nashville. I could see Pittsburgh and Vancouver being losses easily.
Yeah, I could see
And then
that
after that, you get the Canes. So...
On the road.
Yeah. It's not looking great for Minnesota. Jack, who is your not team of this past week?
Well, this was the easiest choice of my life for this one. It's the New York Rangers. Solely for the fact that back-to-back games, you lose to the worst team in the league. I don't even have words for how atrocious this team has been this year. You talk about giving these Sharks their first win of the season. Also, the crazy thing is the Rangers erupted for 5 goals in that game. They have not scored all year, but somehow Igor Shesterkin lets up 6 goals to the Sharks. Macklin Celebrini has the hat trick. The only bright spot for the Rangers this week was a hat trick against the Sharks by, of all people, Taylor Radish, which is, I think, the most random thing I've ever heard in my life. This team just can't score, though. I say it every week. Their top scorer right now is a defenseman, Adam Fox. Artemi Panarin has not been that great. Mika Zibanejad has been fine, not great. Alexei Lafreniere, that is one of the worst contracts I've ever seen given out. He has 4 points on the season. He's had one good season, and he got a contract of well over $8 million a year last year for not 8 years. A terrible contract. JT Miller contract, not looking great either. Will Cooley has 3 points in 11 games. He has 12 penalty minutes in 11 games. This team is just so undisciplined, and I'm not really sure where this team is going to be the rest of the season. And it's really unfortunate for Igor Shesterkin and Jonathan Quick.
I was going to say, Igor is probably the best goalie in the league right now.
And Jonathan Quick is still at almost 40 years old. I think he's had 2 shutouts this year and 3 starts.
I believe Quick is the leader in goals against right now.
1.35. I mean, he's still doing it at this point in his career. He just tied. I forgot the name of the goalie, but just tied someone for 17th all time in shutouts last night because the Rangers miraculously won last night against Vancouver. Not really doing much. I mean, it's Vancouver, but this team is just awful. I don't even know how this team turns it around. They're going to need to get tremendous. They're going to need Artemi Panarin to have the season he did 2 years ago when he had 120 points, and that's just not going to happen because they just don't have nearly as good of a team around him as they used to. I guess the Rangers didn't realize that they were going to miss Chris Kreider this much, especially on their power play, which has just been really depressing to watch. The Rangers' penalty kill is great. They have the 5th best in the league, but they're just not going to score. And if they're just going to be as undisciplined as they are, I just don't know where this team's going to go. And it's proving that it's never been the coaching problem. It's always been Chris Drury. He needs to get out. He's one of the worst GMs in the league. He has held this team back. That Igor Shesterkin contract is going to kill the Rangers in the long run. They need a complete restart. Start from scratch. Trade everyone you can. Restart.
I think we look at the last 3 games. Of course, Jonathan Quick does what he does in Vancouver. But some of the blame has to be put on Igor. You can't allow 6 goals to the Sharks, 5 goals to the Flames. Those are arguably 2 of the worst offenses in the NHL. It could be blamed on the defense. Okay. Your offense does the job against the Sharks. You score 5 goals. And the problem is you have to win a game on home ice. You have to win a singular game on home ice. Defend your home ice. You cannot lose. You cannot win 0 games. How many games are we in? How many have they played so far?
It's been 4 weeks, so probably about
I think they played 13.
12 to 15, somewhere in that range.
Might be 11, actually. I think they're 4-5-2,
Really?
so 11,
Okay.
yeah.
0-4-1 at home.
Wow.
That is atrocious. Ranger fans should be demanding if they go to the games and how much they pay to get into MSG to get some of the money
this is
back.
the New York Rangers we're talking about. Jack, I got a question for you. How many Rangers currently have double-digit points?
0.
0.
Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad. And when your top scorer is a defenseman, it's not really going to help. I mean, Adam Fox is great, but he should not be the top scorer on this team, especially for a team who literally won the President's Trophy 2 seasons ago.
Yep. You know who else has 0 people with double-digit points?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say the St. Louis Blues.
It's the St. Louis Blues, and they are my not team of the week. This is a team that I was high on going into the year. This is my team, and the roster looks good. Really looking down the line, there aren't a whole lot of guys where I think, yeah, I don't trust them. But this has been a terrible stretch for the Blues. Going 0-4 this week. 2 of those games were at home. Being outscored 24-13 in that stretch. Jordan Binnington is looking as bad as he ever has. Played 3 games since our last show, giving up over 4 goals a game and just saving 81%. Joel Hofer is a guy that we thought was an excellent backup goaltender. He's been terrible. He's been atrocious. And the worst news is that Jake Neighbors is on the IR. Genuinely, the only 2 guys that were pulling any sort of weight on this team was Jake Neighbors, who had 6 goals, and Jordan Kyrou, who's our points leader right now, but he's had 3 goals in his last 3 games. A week ago, he had a single goal. And this is the guy that you're paying this much and talking about how fast he is to be your guy, and he had a goal a week ago.
I can't point out one singular spot with the Blues. It's the whole team.
It's the whole team.
It's
Nobody's
the whole entire
performing.
team.
Pavel Buchnevich is looking terrible. Robert Thomas has a goal. Braden Shen's old. Colton Parayko has 0 goals. Justin Falk is old. Nathan Walker has a goal. Cam Fowler has 0. Oscar Sundqvist has 0. Alexei Toropchenko has 0. There is so many guys on this roster that are proven. Like, it's not even that we're testing out young guys. These are guys that last year had solid seasons, and we said, yeah, we're going to continue to build around this core because we trust them. And they're doing nothing. And this division is looking so good already where you can't let Utah be as hot as they are and let them be atop this division and then sandbag for a month and say, yeah, we'll stay in it, because you're not going to.
Do you think it's time to start? I'm not going to say start fresh, clean house, but do you think it's time to retool with the core?
I don't know, because it's not like a lot of teams where you either don't have names or you have big names that aren't performing. This team is already rebuilt. Like, if you were going to rebuild a hockey team, I would do it the way that the St. Louis Blues did, where you have a couple stars that are under the radar and they're getting paid like that, and then a lot of young guys that are supposed to be performing, and you have some veterans, and just nobody's showing up. So unless you just retool and get the exact same caliber of guys, this Blues team is just lost.
Here's the thing with the St. Louis Blues. There is not a single team in the league who plays off vibes more than the St. Louis Blues do.
Yeah.
When the vibes are great, nobody's stopping them. When the vibes are bad, they are one of the worst teams in the league. The thing with the St. Louis Blues is that in these really tough stretches, they don't have a superstar on their team that can carry them through.
No.
But when they are good, it's hard to stop them. And that's the thing is I am not too worried about this team yet. I want to give it a bit more time because I think the depth on this team, they have great depth.
I agree.
I think their depth is great. And once they start clicking, I think they're going to be just fine.
But I agree. But that's the thing, is that with so much depth, you would think that one line would be good. But there's no. I think there's 2 guys in this team that have a positive plus minus, and that's Tyler Tucker and Matthew Kessel. Those are the only guys that have a positive plus minus in this team. Like, there's just nothing going right for them. And obviously, it's an emotional rant for me, but there's just nothing that I'm looking forward to. And like you said, there isn't a star where, like, I don't trust Jordan Kyrou or Jake Neighbors to be that guy where it's like, at least we can trust him to score a goal tonight, because he probably won't.
There's one guy, Buchnevich, but he hasn't played well, or Robert Thomas.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
But-
Robert Thomas has been invisible.
It seems like it. I mean, I think I think the Blues and the Rangers are in a bit of a similar spot right now, but I think the Blues are way more likely to come out of their slump than the Rangers
I
are.
agree.
That's the thing with Bennington too. Is Bennington plays where the team goes. If the forwards aren't contributing, Bennington's not going to help him in net. But if they're playing great, Bennington will be at the top of his game.
But the thing about Bennington is that he goes hot and cold. But at least when he's cold, we typically have a guy like a Jake Allen or a Ville Husso or last year's Joel Hofer, who is a solid backup that can fill in those spots. Joel Hofer has a 581 right now.
That's atrocious.
And so you're guaranteeing if Bennington gets a day off a week, that's a guaranteed loss.
So I would say at the deadline, your goal,
Jonathan Quick.
That's a
That'd be
good
great.
pickup.
Yeah.
Get a solid backup goalie.
Yeah. But
Jonathan Quick has that experience too
he does.
in the playoffs.
Or bring Jake Allen back.
Yeah, where's Jake Allen?
Devils.
The Devils.
Yeah.
Okay. That might be a bit of. Well, he's kind of starting right now, so I'm not sure if they would trade him. But
Not
the
yet,
Rangers
but-
would definitely. Jonathan Quick has this is his contract year.
Yeah.
And you bring someone with that playoff
Yeah.
experience, I feel like that is ideal. And we've seen the Blues and Rangers work a lot in trades.
Absolutely.
Last couple years, we saw Buchnevich and a bunch of other guys, Tarasenko.
Yeah.
So I think right now that is where I'm leaning towards. They're definitely gonna if this guy's gonna have a 581 save percentage, they have to go and get another goalie.
And listen, the Blues have been here before. They've been at the bottom of the barrel. They have climbed all the way back. We saw their cup year, 2019. They were in dead last at the All-Star break.
Yeah.
And what did they do?
They won the freaking cup.
Exactly. If I'm a Blues fan, I am not throwing the white flag up yet.
I'm not throwing it in. I just am tired of waiting. Every night I turn on the Blues game, I think tonight could be the night that we turn it around, and then we lose at home to Detroit. Or we blow a 4-0 lead to the Detroit Red Wings, who are obviously a great team right now, but it's frustrating.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
We're approaching time pretty soon, but I want to talk about two more things. First up, Alexander Ovechkin, 1 goal away from 900. When's he gonna get it, Jack Rizzo?
I'm going to say it's against the Sabres on Saturday. And also, here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say it's on the power play. And I'm going to say I'm going to go away from Ovi for a second. That power play is going to be what tanks the Buffalo Sabres penalty killing. It's going to go from top of the league to middle of the pack. I just think that's where Ovi's going to get it. It really could be anywhere, but I think it'll be on the road. I think it'll take him 2 more games. And I am super excited, though, to see him get to 900. Best goal scorer of all time.
I'll go a game later and say it'll be at home against the St. Louis Blues.
Of course.
Because if the Blues can be there for when Sidney gets 1,700, they can be there for when Ovi gets 900.
If Ovechkin knows how to score big goals, he knows how to do it against one team. The New York Islanders.
That's true.
Give me a Halloween special.
And
Ovi 900 against the New York Islanders.
we found out that you were there for that goal today.
Yeah, literally right before we
We've known
started
you
the show.
for 2 months, and we just found out that you were there when Ovi broke the record.
Thanks for letting us know.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. It was a cool moment.
You showed us a million pictures of you at Met spring training, but you never thought to show us a picture of you at the Islanders game when Ovi breaks the record.
Yeah, it was a cool moment. I did get the flu from that
A
game.
picture of you with Connor Bazelak at Mizzou has been shown to me, but I just found out you were there for Ovi.
Yeah, I was there. It was a pretty fun time. Capitals fans really showed out. So I think he's just gonna do it again against the Islanders. He owns Sorokin. Let's be honest. Sorokin's not looked really good. It was a fun time being there to witness NHL history. Shout out my boss who let me go to the game, who gave me off from work that day, and yeah, it was a fun time.
All right, let's move into our last talking point of the day, and that's what game we're looking forward to. I want to kick off with tomorrow night's game, the Blackhawks going to Winnipeg. This is a game that could not be entertaining. This could be a 7-1 Jets victory, but I am really high on the Chicago Blackhawks right now. And we talked about them at the top of the show and how just surprising they've been. I think this is a game that if the Blackhawks are legit, they can make it interesting, and this can definitely be a trademark victory for this young Hawks team.
Yeah, they can really show what they have. Statement victory in Winnipeg.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like every week we pick the game at Winnipeg, but we haven't really talked about the Jets team too much on the show, and I think it's just because of how consistent they are.
Yeah.
I mean, keep in mind, they're showing that last year was no fluke, and they still don't have Adam Lowry or Cole Perfetti back yet. And think about when they come back, they're going to be just as good as they were last year.
Jack, you're also excited for a Chicago game.
I sure am. Well, we're talking about the 2 Cinderella teams in the league this year going at it at Tuesday nights at the end of the week. Blackhawks at the Seattle Kraken. I am so looking forward to that game. I think it's going to be a game of which one of these teams is legit this year. It could be one of these games, where just like Cinderella story, we're going to have the young guys show out. I am really, really looking forward to that game. It's going to be an awesome one. And again, I'm still skeptical that both these teams are going to stay in the playoff standings all year. But hey, they get to play on Tuesday night and show what maybe the future is in the Western Conference. I could absolutely see that being a Western Conference Finals 3 years down the road.
Absolutely.
So I'm looking forward to it.
I think it'll be a fun one.
My game of the week, trust me, I love Halloween. Trust me, I really like Halloween. I want Ovi to break the record on Halloween, and I have Avalanche Vegas on Halloween.
It's a boring answer, no assist.
Halloween's a great day, guys. These two are the two best teams in the Western Conference, in my opinion, when the Dallas Stars are not rolling like they are. I think this game is going to be awesome. We're going to see Aiden Hill versus Scott Wedgwood in an ultimate battle in Vegas.
It's hard to believe that we haven't seen these two teams face off in the playoffs.
We only get national games on Tuesdays and Wednesdays for NHL, right?
For now, yeah, because it's the either TNT or the ESPN Plus deal. But we'll start to see once football season's over, we'll start to see Saturday games triple headers, and we will see TNT do games on Sunday as well. And that's my favorite time of hockey season. Yeah. It's really fun. Wake up and 12:30, you have Wild Red Wings or whatever.
Yep.
Whatever. It's just fun to wake up and watch that.
All right, fellas, any last thoughts before we close out this episode?
I gotta think. Let me think about it.
Susie, you want to talk about the Islanders for 30 seconds?
Yeah, give me an Islander rant.
I'll time you for 30 seconds. Go.
Time me for 30 seconds.
Here
we go.
You're on the clock.
Oh, I'm on the clock. The Islanders, really impressive week. Yesterday was not so impressive. Actually, the last two games weren't so impressive. They were up 2-0 in both of those games, and they found a way to lose. It's the Flyers and the Bruins. You guys had your rant, so let me have mine. Sorokin needs to leave Long Island. How many times do I have to
10
say
seconds.
it? 10 seconds. Here we go. Sorokin needs to leave. Send him to the Kings. Kings to the playoffs. That's how it's going to go. Like we said, if you leave New York, you become a star.
Time. That'll do it for us here for the Dump and Chase podcast presented by the Hoosier Network. I've been Noah Bedoris with Jack Rizzo and Noah Seuss. We'll see you next week.